Hello, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can everyone hear me? Like I said, please give me a big thumbs up in the chat if you can. Welcome to an amazing, fantastic, wonderful webinar. We're going to be going over math today. Today, we will be doing one of the most requested math sessions. So what do you think? If you had to guess what one of the most requested math sessions is, what would you guess? What would you guess is a math question that you always ask me? What is a math question? Don't make me feel bad. Now you're gonna throw out all these math things that we're not going over today, and I'm gonna be like hitting on the one thing that you don't want to go over. So what do you think is the most requested thing that I usually get? Type it in the chat if you know, and I will. Someone said, Leo said table math. What do you mean by table math? Tell me what you mean by that. I might have a table up. I don't know. Hello from California. So, what I will tell you is this: California, New York State. Just so you know, I will tell you this: you are not going to see California no math. Okay. California, no math. New York, very little math. So, a couple of you have already typed it in. We're going to go over amortization. So, today is the amortization table. I will be going over that. Yeah, see, there's a bunch of people typing that in. So, at least I feel better now knowing that several people have already hit the nail on the head. Amortization table is what we're going to go over. I have a couple of videos on this. However, that is probably one of the most requested topics to go over for math. So I like to do that every couple of math sessions. So, that being said, what I want to tell everyone is this. Again, I do my little public service announcements at the beginning of each of my webinars, more so with math. Only because, again, I always forewarn, hey, if you're in California or you're in, again, I always say New York State. I'm a New York State instructor. That's the only reason I know that test inside and out. That one has absolutely, this is just not going to be on that test, okay? So that's why I want to tell you before you even, try to wrap your head around it. So that is definitely 1,000,000% not going to be on there. Now, okay, what I'm going to tell you is this. Everyone else, if you're taking Pearson VUE, PSI, I know PSI 1,000% is going to have an amortization table, okay? And I will tell you this, okay? So Amber said, is there anything from this webinar that's going to be on the California exam? No. No. So absolutely, they will not give you an amortization table. This is not going to be on there. So 1,000%. Again, now, that out of the way, what I always say is this. Listen, okay, a couple things. A couple things about the test. Number one, the amortization table, okay, what I will tell you is this. When you're going through when you're going to the test, I always tell students, this is one of my top things that I recommend, that I mention. Make sure that when it's appropriate, ask your proctor who is giving the examination, is there a question on the exam that requires me to use an amortization table, okay? If so, where is it located, okay? Why do I recommend that? Why do I say make sure you're asking that question? Because what happens is this. It's a situation where they're human, okay? Think about the things that you forget on a daily basis if you had to do something 1,001 times. Would there be one time where you might forget to ask for something? You might forget to mention something? Yes. So they're human. They might not remember. Maybe they got distracted. Please make sure that you ask, okay, if there is an amortization table. So most testing centers, it's usually pretty obvious where it is. However, it doesn't, okay? It doesn't mean that it's going to be obvious for everyone. It's usually in your testing cubicles if they do have you go over it. However, again, just make sure that if they haven't gone over it already and it's not apparent, just make sure that you ask for that, because that is going to be a situation where it's simply a simple question. And again, if you're polite, I know sometimes they're not so polite. They don't have the greatest job in the world. But just like I said, kindly ask at an appropriate time. I know you're nervous when you're going there. They are aware of that too. So when there's a right time to ask questions, this should definitely be one of the questions that you ask. Because I have had students, again, not super common, but I have had students that have not been provided. Maybe the amortization table fell off of the cubicle. Maybe it isn't there. Maybe in that cubicle, there's a ton of things that I tell you, but again, help yourself on that one, okay? The other thing with my math webinars, I always say this. If your brain is exploding, if you are not feeling like you're understanding stuff, that's quite all right. This is not going to be where I'm going to get everyone to the finish line, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go at a certain pace, okay? So that hopefully what we do is we get through the material, we kind of understand what is being asked of us, we understand how we're probably going to see a question on the exam, and we will hopefully get you more clear as to how to answer these amortization table questions, okay? So, and also keep in mind this, if you are live with me, please remember that I do have my eyeballs on the chat. I have my eyeballs on the chitty chat, okay? So I can see what you're typing, okay? Good, bad, and different, okay? So you could throw the love my way. And if you are throwing love my way, please remember to hit that like button. That is your job. And remember to do that for all of our webinars, whether they're live or recorded. So if you're watching sometime in the future, hello, future people. Your job now is to hit that like button. So please go ahead and do that. That helps YouTube know that you like when I'm on here. So that being said, let's jump into this. Let's have a conversation, okay? Someone said that they did, Cynthia said they did the amortization table webinar yesterday and it worked for you. Excellent, fantastic. Listen, I don't reinvent the wheel. Here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this. Okay. So, so Jordan said, "Eek, you can see the chat." Yes, I can see you. I have eyeballs and I see everything that goes on in there, good, bad, and different. So don't make me upset. So first and foremost, what I need to do is this. I need to ask you, everyone who's here with me live, okay? Everyone who's here with me live, I need to know this. This is the amortization table, okay? This is an amortization chart. This is very similar to a multiplication table, okay? Why is it similar to a multiplication table? Because you're going to have a rate over here, okay? You're going to have a rate, and let me make my marker bigger. There we go. Sound effects are necessary. There we go. We have the rate over here, okay? And then across the top, we have the term of the loan, okay? The term of the loan are going to be how long is the loan, okay? And then we have little tiny numbers in the middle, okay? Little tiny numbers in the middle. If you are in New York or California, you won't see this on the test for the 1 millionth time. So, that being said, again, you have the rate over here, and you have the term above here. So these numbers in the middle, what are those numbers? What are those? Tell me. Type it in the chat if you're live with me. Type it in the chat if you are live with me. Anybody? Anyone? So someone said APR? No. Someone said amounts. Close. Percentages. Interest. So here's the thing. Interest, APR, this is going to be over here, right? The term is going to be here. Hey, Holly's the first one to type in with it, I think. That's going to be our payments. Look, listen. The amortization table is super silly, fun, easy. You ready? This is, each one of these numbers in the middle is the monthly payment per $1,000 of the mortgage. Per $1,000 of the mortgage loan, okay? So if you had a 15-year at 3%, your monthly payments for principal and interest every single month, if you took out a $1,000 loan, would be $6.90,582. That's it. That is your monthly payments, okay? These are how much your monthly payments would be, okay? Every single one of them, principal and interest, okay? Principal and interest, monthly payments per $1,000 of a mortgage. Let me do some fancy smancy math for you. Now, let's say, and I'm going to use this because, you know what, we're going to change it up today. I've been using that for quite some time, and we're going to change it up. We're going to make it a 25-year, just so that we could use some different math. We're going to make it a 25-year at 3%, okay? Okay, so a 25-year at 3%, and the reason I'm typing it on the Post-it note is to make it easier to see. Is going to be 4.74211, okay? So here, how did I get that? Listen, watch. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay, you ready? We went to 25 years, okay? Then we went to 3%, right? Just like a multiplication table. Went over, found the number, okay? Now, once we find the number, okay? Once we find the number, okay, what happens is this. You don't need these two numbers anymore. Stew tip, okay? Those two numbers are irrelevant, okay? Those two numbers are irrelevant, okay? So Nicholas M. typed in, and this is actually kind of interesting, said, after 15 years, you would pay $1,243.04 for a 1K loan. Yes, sounds about right, okay? Because what we use simple interest, which is not compounded, okay? So when we're using home loans, we are going to be using simple interest, where they multiply the interest by the principal. You get your annual interest. And basically what this is doing is it's cutting out, okay? It's cutting out a lot of the red tape as far as like the math is concerned. So it's actually a shortcut. So bottom line is, when you see an amortization chart, once you understand how to use it, it should be fairly simple and it should explain itself. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions in the chat, okay? And again, I put it on the Post-it note just so that it's easier for you to see with your eyeballs, okay? If I had a 25-year loan at 3%, it would be $4.7421 for a $1,000 loan. How would I figure out, okay, the amount of monthly payments for a $2,000 loan? How much would it be for a $2,000 loan? You could type the question, and what would I do to figure out a $2,000 loan? Okay. Alicia, boom. Multiply it by 2. Okay. Wait. Let's get crazy now. Okay. What if it was a $10,000 loan? What would I multiply by? Type it in the chat. Not all at once, though. So, if it was a $10,000 loan, multiplied by 10. Okay, we're getting somewhere. What if it was a $100,000 loan? How would I find the monthly payments? Okay. How would I find the monthly payments? I would multiply it by 100. Yeah. So let me write out the steps, because I haven't written out the steps in a while. So if you want to find the monthly payments, what you do is step 1. Find out how many 1,000s are in the loan amount, aka loan amount divided by 1,000. And you see, you all did that in your head, okay? You all did that in your head. So I'm going to make this really nice and big for you. So bear with me because I'm going to show you in a second how this works. So find out how many 1,000s are in the loan amount. So what happens is this. It's a situation where when I said a $2,000 loan, you were very easy. You didn't have to worry about doing the math in your head. But if I put a higher number up there, you might have to do that, or you might want to just do it just to double check. I always belt and suspenders. Punch the math into your calculator several times. You do want to beware of the butterfingers. I always say that in all of my math webinars. Beware of the butterfingers. It will get you. It will get you every time. Okay? No matter how good you are with math, please be aware of the butterfingers. So, find out how many 1,000s are in the loan amount. Okay? Then you would know. So, in a $2,000 loan amount, it would be 2,000s. In 10,000, it would be 10,000s. In a 100,000, it would be 100. Okay? 2. Multiply that number by the monthly payments. And that's it. 2 steps. 2 steps. Once you know the number, okay? Once you know the number in the middle, it is literally 2 steps. You are 2 steps away. And here's the thing. If you're smart enough, like I said, if it's like a $100,000 loan, you could probably do step 1 in your head. So give me a thumbs up if now you understand how to find monthly payments in a amortization table. That's usually pretty easy. That's the one usually people don't have a problem with, okay? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. And also, if you are joining late, okay, please also make sure that you hit the like button. Okay. So, how would this be worded in a question? I'm going to get to that. Okay. So, because all of you say, how would that be worded in a question? Because it would be kind of tricky in a question. So, what we're going to do is this. So, give me 1 second. And I will show you in a word question. Because it's going to be not so much tricky, but you'll see. Once you know this base thing, we're going to delete this now. Okay. And we're going to do some erasey. Okay. So we make a little more space. And we're going to jump down to, okay. And I'm going to make this different because we're going to say 25-year at 3%. Okay. So we're using the 4.74211. Watch this. We're going to go over this one now. So I'm going to, and make sure, again, because I'm not going to go back to the amortization chart. I don't want to make you go crazy. So we're going to take this number, and we're just going to move it over here, okay, so that we could see it for the work that we're going to be doing right now, okay? So, let me see. I'm having Post-it note difficulties because one is above the other. So we're going to save that for later, okay? There we go. Thank you for bearing with me. So let's take a look at this. This is how it would be worded on the test. A property sold for $375,000, and they took out a loan with an LTV of 80% for 25 years at 3%. If the annual taxes were $3,200 and the annual insurance premium was $799, how much would their monthly payments be? Okay. So, how would we start? There's a lot of steps. So, here's what I want to ask you. First and foremost with the math, if you've been in any of my math webinars, what is the first step that we do? What is the first step that we do, everybody? Anyone? Anyone know? Okay. So the first step that we do is we identify what the question is asking us, okay? What is it asking us? It wants to know how much our monthly payments are. Okay, so that's what it is. How much are the monthly payments? So now we know a couple things. Okay, we know the home sold for $375,000. Okay, and here's what I like to do in a longer question. I like to write out what I have. Okay, so this is what it sold for. Okay, it was an 80% LTV. Okay. Now, we also know that the loan is for, okay, 25 years at 3%. Okay. And we also know the annual taxes are $3,200. And now the annual insurance is $799. Okay. So let me ask you this. Does that look like a good representation of what we have? We kind of extracted out all the information. Does it look like we're setting ourselves up for success? It looks like we are. So let's boot over. Okay. And let us go through the actual math here. So, and here's the thing. If you get used to writing out all that stuff, okay, if you basically write out all that stuff, what happens is this. It's a situation where it's going to make it easier for you to catch any kind of mistakes that you might make. It makes it easier for you to see what is going on, what's happening, and what you need to get out of this question. So, what's going to be our first step? Tell me what the first step is going to be, okay? Always good to break it down. Yes, always good to break it down. So, so at the testing centers, you should be able to have some scratch papers. Some places they give you more than others. It depends. But you should have some sort of scratch paper that you could do exactly what I'm saying, where you could write down the information and solve. Okay? So here's what we need to figure out. So first we have to figure out the loan amount. Okay? So what is the loan amount? Okay? That is going to be, and a couple of you are already typing it in. That's going to be $375,000, okay, multiplied by 80%, or 80% is represented by a decimal as 0.80. So let's get our handy-dandy calculators out, okay. Let's get our calculators, okay. 375,000 times 0.8 equals 300,000. Sound good? Did it look like I did my math right? And that is the loan amount. Okay? So now we need to figure out also, okay, we need to figure this out. What is the 25 years at 3%? Well, let's go back to our handy-dandy amortization table, okay? So if we look at that, it's going to be the number we've been using, right? Let me get that out of the way. There we are. $4.74211. Okay. That is the monthly payments per $1,000 of the mortgage. 4.74211. Okay. So 4.74211 is our monthly payments per 1,000 of a mortgage. Okay? So, someone else said, how many thousands are in How many 1,000s are in the loan? Yeah, super, super good next step, right? Super good next step. So that would be, so for some of you smarty pants, you're doing the math in your head already. I like it. You would take the loan amount. We would divide that by 1,000. That equals 300. So there's 300 1,000s, okay? 300 1,000s in the loan amount, okay? Now, what's our next step going to be? What is our next step going to be? Fernando said, are we supposed to get that chart? I didn't get one. Ask, and it will basically be a situation where what happens is this. You either maybe didn't have a question on it where they use the amortization table, or they did forget to give you one or point out where it was. So that's why I say to ask, because everyone always says, hey, I didn't get one, or I didn't see that on my test. Again, possibility, not on your test, okay? Possibility that they forgot to give it to you. I don't know which one it is, but here's what I will tell you, okay? My mother, my Italian mother says to me, Italian Puerto Rican, it's quite a mix. My mother, she's a little spitfire. I always remember her saying to me when I grew up, this: God helps those who help themselves. So what that basically means is take some of the things into your own hands, and that's why I always say that. So here's what we're going to do: we multiply the 300 by the 4.74211. That will give us our monthly payments for principal and interest. Okay, so 4.74211 times 300 equals $1,422, and we'll lop off the cents because don't like cents. So we'll just make it 1,422. Okay. So that being said, okay, some of you are taking the interest rate or the years. Listen, what I'm going to tell you is this: nay, do not touch the interest rate or the years. Once you use it, okay, to find the 4.74211, there is nothing else you need from that. Kaputskis. Okay, kaputskis. So what else do we have? Are we done? And what is that 1422? That is the principal and interest payments monthly. Okay. Someone said, do they knock off the cents all the time? No. I do it though. Typically they do round, okay? But sometimes they're exact, okay? Sometimes they are exact in their calculations. So it depends. I'm just making it easier for myself so I can punch in less numbers, okay? So that's the situation there, okay? We have to factor in the tax and insurance. Boom. Boom shakalaka. Absolutely. So how do we figure that out? We have annual taxes and annual insurance. Okay, how do we factor those in? What are we going to do with that? What do we do? Okay, so how would we factor those in? So here's the thing. Ishmael, we divide each one by 12. Boom. What I would do first, though, is this. I would add them together. Okay, just, you don't have to. Okay, I would do the 3,200. Add in the 799, because you could do both separately, okay? But I like to togethers, because eventually you're going to have to together them, right? Okay, 3,200 plus 799 equals 3,999. And we're going to take that number, and we are going to divide by 12. Why are we dividing by 12, everybody? Why are we doing that? And don't tell me it's a no-brainer thing, because I'm explaining it for everybody, because here's the thing. I'm going to show you some of these some of these questions in here. I'm going to tell you a couple tips and tricks because right, they gave you annual taxes. So listen to what I'm going to tell you. There's a method behind my madness, okay? There is a methodology behind everything I do. And we'll just make it 333 because I told you I don't want to deal with decimals right now. No. So, the reason I like to label everything that I'm doing, it seems tedious, and here's the thing. I don't need to. So let me say this. I am the anointed czar of math over at Prep Agent. And who has anointed me the czar of math? Well, myself. I'm the self-voted czar of math. However, what I'm going to tell you is this. I could probably do this whole problem without writing it out. Like, I don't need to write it out, okay? That being said, when I don't write it out, I do make silly mistakes, okay? I do make silly mistakes. So I tell you to write it out because it is a good habit to get into. I write it out for you so that you understand where also you could be missing something. Because guess what? A lot of people forget that it's annual taxes, annual insurance. And if you had it written out, it's right in front of you. You wrote it. Boom. Should hit you like a Mack truck. Hey, I got to get it into monthly. Because here, look at this. How much are the monthly payments? Annual taxes, annual insurance. It's basically this. And the Thomas Preciado said, hashtag gives Stu a raise. Thank you so much for remembering that that's the hashtag that we have to get trending right into, okay? Right into 2022, you know? That's we got to get it going. We got to get it going. I mean, I'm all for it. I know you are all for it. So remember, if you're in Joe's webinars, hit that like button and hashtag gives Stu a raise. So that being said, last step we need to do, and I'm going to zoom in for this one so that you could see the whole entire process nice and big, okay? We're going to add up those three numbers that we got. So the 1,422 plus the, I was about to say hashtag gives Stu a raise. See, now you're getting me distracted. I'm going to write it in my own webinar. And then we're going to add in, okay, the 333. And we're going to add all those up. And remember, punch it into your calculator multiple times. You don't want to have the butterfingers come and attack you on the test, okay? And you slip up for something simple, okay? $5,754. That should be... Wait, no. No. Why'd I add in the $3.99? See? Listen. Butterfingers get you every single time. Every single time. It's just the 333. Hey, why weren't you screaming at me and saying, Stu, you're adding in too many numbers? You see what I'm saying? Do you see how that wasn't planned? I was trying to give myself a raise too quickly, nominate myself as the czar. And as I was nominating myself as the math czar, I added in one too many numbers. So that is the answer. Felicia said you had me worried. See, even me, that's why I write it out. Because I told you I could and I didn't do that on purpose. Literally, that was just me trying to talk, trying to teach you, trying to be slightly humorous and also do math. And you could tell that the three things just did not work out. And because I wrote it out, though, I caught my math really quickly. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I said to you, like, real world example, why do we write it out? Why is Stu so methodical? Because you want to catch your mistakes. I saw exactly where we went wrong. And look, if I went back through, I said, oh man, no, we divided $3.99 by 12. So that's not, that 4,000 is not, that's an annual number, not our monthly number. And we're looking for monthly payments. So if I had this all written out there, I'd be like, nay, can't add that in and just, throw that into monthly. No, my good friends. So that's how you would likely see it on the test. That's how you would likely see the amortization table put into practice as far as figuring out what your monthly payments is. Okay. Oh, you're making me laugh a little bit in the chat. What I will tell you is this, okay? Yeah, human error, absolutely 1000%. It does get you on that. It does get you. So we went through the monthly payments, and since we did a question on it, it took us a little longer, okay? A little longer to get through that than I was planning for amortization. So what I'm going to do is this. We're going to breeze through. And what I'll tell you is this. Keep in mind, you do have this on recording. So once it's done, give it a little bit of time, let it simmer a little bit. And then in about an hour or so, you'll be able to, watch this on replay. Okay, you'll be able to pause it, screenshot, and everything. I don't want to go backwards because I want to make sure that we go over the other thing that they could ask you. So we went in depth and we used an example of what they would likely show you on the test. The other thing that I want to tell you is this. I do have more amortization tables, okay, on the Prep Agent webinar section. So if you go to Prep Agent, you go to webinars on your dashboard, you just type in amortization, okay? You spell it right, too. You'll see it'll come up. I have another webinar on amortization. I do this every once in a while. I have a full math webinar if you want to look up a crash course. Okay, I have a math crash course where I go through that as well. Okay, so there's a bunch of things that I have on there. So those are all up there for your viewing pleasure. If, like I said, you want to go through it again, I always make sure that you know where to go to find all the little nuggets of information. The other thing that I want to say is this. Let's go through, okay? Let's go through a problem where we're starting with a monthly payment or monthly budget. That's how they'll word it. And they'll say how much of a loan could they afford. So what I'm going to do is go through the steps. I'm going to quickly breeze through the steps, okay? And I'm going to do it using the 1,850 monthly number. And we're going to use, again, the 25-year at 3%. So what happens is this. First step is how to figure out loan amount, or how much could someone afford, okay? How to figure out loan amount or how much someone could afford, okay? The first step, step one, take the loan amount, the monthly budget, and you figure out how many of the itty-bitty monthly payments fit into that. How many of the itty-bitty monthly payments fit into it, okay? So you divide it by 4.74211. So that's going to be... And someone said this makes so much sense now. Give me a thumbs up. Please make sure you hit that like button. If it's making sense, do that. While I punch this into my calculator multiple times because obviously I have a bad case of the butterfingers today. This should be 390 point something something. I'll just make it 390 because I like nice even numbers. Okay? So you figure out how many of the monthly payments fit into your monthly budget. You then take that number, okay, no dollar sign, 390, and you multiply it by 1,000. Why? Because each of them, you're basically figuring this out. This is the math that you're figuring out. Let me zoom in a little bit, okay, so that you could see it. I'm just doing a little zoom, so make it a little more visible, okay? Here we go. So follow the math. Each one of the 4.74211 represents $1,000 on the loan. So what happens is we have to figure out how many of them are there. Then we multiply it by 1,000, and watch this. We get our loan amount. Most they could afford, if that's their budget, is $390,000. Okay, on a 25-year at 3%. Hashtag gives Stu a raise. Absolutely. So, let me ask you this. Any questions, concerns, burning desires? Anything. So hopefully this helped you out with amortization. And I'm glad that I'm going over topics that you're asking about. So Melissa asked a question. This is a good one. What about insurance and taxes? If they give you insurance and taxes, great. Then go through insurance and taxes. If they're not going to ask you for the insurance and taxes, then don't worry about it. So what happens is this, okay? What happens is when we're going over how to figure out loan amounts and how to figure out the loan amount and how to figure out the monthly payments. These are the only two things that they could ask you using the amortization table. Those are the only. You can only go forwards or backwards. Okay, you can only start at a loan amount, end at a monthly payment, or start with a monthly payment and end at a loan amount. That's it. And taxes and insurance, that's extra stuff in the question that would be in there. Okay, so you have to either figure out what they're asking you. Again, that's the situation there. So, with that being said, what I want to do is start to wrap up for today. So, that was math for you. Okay? I hope that you enjoyed your math session with your newly appointed Prep Agent Math Czar. So please, and maybe we should get this trending too, where whenever we come into a math webinar, we refer to me as the math czar, right? It's a torture session. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. So that being said, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard, we're going to be going over Facebook Friday. That's where I go through your questions, your concerns, your burning desires. Okay, please hit that like button. Very, 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 very important. And what I want to tell you is this. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm going to see you real soon.